All right. Good morning. The two people that are watching, don't mind my hair. I just came back from a run. Um, Hopefully you guys are doing good. It's gonna be a pretty short stream. I mean, I don't think there's reason to stay any longer, or wait for people to tune in. But for the two people that are watching, you can say hi in the chat so I know who you are. That'd be great. But this live stream or this video is essentially just to tell you, congratulations on finishing the course once again. I know it's been tough. I've gotten a lot of emails from a whole bunch of different students about marks and stuff like that. So I do want to clarify certain things. Hi Sylvia, good to have you join us today. So a few major things. A lot of people are confused about the weighting, and I just kind of want to clarify that the weighting for the math space assignments I set to 1 because the total amount of math space assignments should be altogether should be equivalent to like a quiz, right? That's the goal. So, and I didn't input any math space assignments that Miss Lifshitz gave that I did not extend the deadline for because that's not under my jurisdiction. That was under hers. So a lot of people have been wondering like, oh, what about these other math space marks? I'm like, I'm not going to include those. I'm only going to include the ones that I extended the deadline for because it's only fair that way. A few other questions were that, I did really well on the second half. How come I didn't get as good as the mark? But I'm like, have you seen how much your mark went up? Like a lot of your marks have gone up significantly for most of you. And it's important to realize that like if you look at where you started and what your mark started at, like a 5 to 10% increase is a lot. That's a lot. That's a huge increase for the end of the year, right? So you have to realize that there's a lot of impact that goes along with it. And lastly, I really, really hope that despite all the teacher changes, despite all the troubles that, we kind of had, and you kind of had definitely, like it sucks switching teachers so often, but the main thing that I would like to tell you is that I hope that you enjoyed my online lessons. I hope that my videos were helpful for you. They will still be available in the future if you ever need to go back to it. I really do hope that me stepping in as a teacher was not detrimental to your learning. I really hope that what I taught you and what I did for you was kind of a step up in growing your learning and kind of building a stronger knowledge within mathematics for you. So thank you so much for being patient with me. Thank you so much for sticking around and kind of pushing through and completing your assignments on time for that final deadline. For the 4 people that are watching right now, do you have any questions that you want to ask me? I don't want to make it too long because there's no reason. Can you finally tell us what happened to Miss Lifshitz? I have not gotten the permission to share what happened to Mrs. Lifshitz. I have not gotten the permission from Mr. Super to do so. But I think it's fairly clear. I think you can figure it out. I'm not going to say more than that. I think you can figure it out. Yeah. Don't think like she got fired though. It's definitely not fired. She's not fired. But I don't want to make like, oh, okay, she's not fired. That's not what happened. But like I think you guys can figure it out. But in the end, like I stepped in because you had no teacher. So any other questions? Hopefully you got, like, if you guys are upset with like a mark that you got, email me. Like I'm always happy to explain my thought process. And for your culminating, I feel like I explained my thought process pretty well in marking it, as to why you got certain marks. Daniel, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really, really thankful that you really did enjoy my lessons. So yeah, that's really, really good to hear. Any other questions, comments, concerns, maybe? I did have, once again, I had. I will tell you, I'm glad I was a lifesaver for some. Some people, I'm not going to name people, right? Because this is, I know I have some grade 10s in here too. There's grade 10s and grade 12s watching this video right now because it's the same link. And so I've had some people that I feel like did not like the way I marked stuff and the way I taught stuff. So to each their own. But I'm glad it was helpful for you too. Is the quarantine going to change the way school is going to be run in the near future? Possibly. I think the biggest concern is how rushed maybe certain content was, or how much people or students actually kept like up with their knowledge. Like with you grade 12s, that's not, with grade 12s I don't think it's much of an issue, because you guys know that university was coming up. You guys know that you guys had to like get your shit together. You guys knew that you need to put in the effort, so you guys did it. Some of the grade 10s probably not as much, right? I'm not saying all of the grade 10s didn't do it. I know there are a big handful of grade 10s that did the work, that came into the lessons, and I appreciate that, and those that completed the assignments on time. But I have a feeling that it might be a rough start to students who are coming in for the next year. As for university, the only thing that's going to change is that it's going to be online maybe for the first semester. I think by the time it hits second semester, we're going to get to a point where you're going to be back into class and nothing's going to change. Remember, university, here, let me put it this way. Anyone can get to university. I'm gonna say that right now. And a lot of people disagree with me, but trust me, it's true. You'd be surprised. When you go to university, anyone can get into university. I went into U of T, Scarborough, right? This was, it's been like 8 years now. When I first got into U of T Scarborough and going into my math classes, all this kind of stuff, I met people in university that could not solve x plus 3 equals 5. And you can laugh at it now. Like, you would be surprised. Anyone can get into university, right? Anyone can get into university. What matters, right? You guys stress about it now, and it's fair that you stress about it now. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to stress about, oh, am I going to get into university or not? No, I'm not saying that's invalid. You have complete like reason to be like scared and anxious about getting into university. But I will tell you, you will get into university. If you have the mindset, you will. The hard part is getting out, right? The hard part is, can you finish within 4 years? The hard part is, can you even finish at all? You would be surprised how much the class sizes change from first to second year university, right? So if you expect university to be different in this next year because, quarantine, haha, they can't treat us, like, they have to make it easier. I'm like, no. You're in for a rough ride, and you're in a bad mindset. If you're going into university expecting it to be easy because quarantine made it easy for made it harder for high school kids, it's not. I'm gonna guarantee that right now. Right? So don't expect university to change. Yeah, it's tough. Absolutely. Burnout is insane. Right? I've felt it before. I've actually, I've gotten to a point where you study so much for a test that you forget what you study. And that's burnout. Right? You start to forget what you literally just learned, not because you didn't study enough, because you studied too much. Your brain's like overflowing with information. And that's a thing. And so like my thing for you guys was, during these last 3 weeks, I didn't want to flood you with a quiz, 2 quizzes, 2 tests, and then a summative. Like, that's crazy, right? I made sure I did 1 quiz, 1 quest, and that's it. Like, let's focus on that for 3 weeks. Let's get that done. Any advice on how to survive? Honestly, if you have the mentality of this matters, and I'm not going to fool around too much, like, then you'll be fine. Right? I'm not trying to scare you on university right now. You guys will be fine. I'm going to guarantee you right now. And I'm sure you have friends in university that are doing okay too, right? People you even people you thought it's like, oh, you're gonna suffer in university. No, they do completely fine. Those people are fine. You'll be fine, right? But you also have to realize that the amount of effort you put in from the beginning of the year matters. The hard part is that first year. So your first year of university, your first semester will be deceiving, and let me explain why it's deceiving. Um, in first year university, a lot of your courses are gonna feel like review. That's the deceiving part. So you get to a point where, oh, I've learned this. Oh, I don't have to study as much. Like I did this in grade 12. I know what's going on. Easy stuff. I don't have to study as much, whatever. If you get into that mindset, which is what I did, you get to a point and you don't even realize the course has hit this point where, hey, it's new stuff. And you've been paying so little attention that you didn't even realize it was new stuff. And then now you're like weeks behind on course content. Right? So that's the one thing I would be very careful of. As much as you know it's review, it's like, oh, I'm good at this stuff. I already know how to do it. Take it seriously. Because you don't know when it's going to switch gears. And when it does, it's too late. When you realize that it has, like, it's too late. So just keep that in mind. I will tell you, your first semester will be very easy because it's review, but it will switch gears and it will come down hard on you because I suffered. My GPA was a 2.12 first year. My GPA was a 2.12 first year. That's a low 60. And that's because I messed up. I messed up hard. I ended my university years after my 4 years. I ended with a 3.2 GPA in U of T, which is a low 80. If I take out my first year, it was a 3.7. So it makes a huge difference. Like, if you care about marks, take your first year seriously, but don't take it seriously enough that you can't enjoy the things you want to do. Join clubs, go out, hang out with friends, like do what you need to. I think when you go in hindsight, you realize a lot of things in university or in high school where you're like, oh, I had time. Like I had time to do this. I had all this time and I was stressing way too much on work when I could have easily divided up my time like this is work, this is playtime, this is whatever, right? You start learning that more as you progress through school, right? When you look back in like elementary school, you had 20 minutes of homework. That 20 minutes to you felt like forever, right? And that's gonna happen continuously in high school. You look back at high school, oh, high school is easy. An hour of homework, no problem. And then you get to university and it's the same process. And you start getting better at it. So don't expect you to be the best as you can, but you can kind of prepare yourself mentally for those hurdles. So that's my spiel. Hopefully that answers a few of your questions and concerns that you may have had for the grade 12s that are watching. Any other thoughts, comments, concerns? No problem, Daniel. I'm glad I could help there. Thoughts, questions, concerns. For grade 12s, I know some of you know that I'm a gamer. If you know that I'm a gamer, and a lot of people ask, can I game with you once I graduate? The answer is yes. But you can ask me once you're done. Do I know about physics? That's taught at York or U of T. Yes, I was a chemistry and physics double major at U of T Scarborough. I enjoyed physics because of the smaller class sizes starting second year. So if you pass by first year, I think it becomes a more fun experience because of kind of the more hands-on and more personal connection you have with your teachers, rather than like 300 students shoved into like a lecture room, like 300 to like 1,000 students shoved into a lecture room. So as you progress through the years, your class sizes will get smaller, and your experience, and my personal like thoughts, your experience will get better over time. Absolutely. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Professors are always open in terms of support and contact. You just email them, or you can go to their office hours. They'll have office hours. I highly suggest getting to know your professor. Um, like, the unique thing about university professors compared to high school teachers. High school teachers, we force you to use your last name, and it's literally just an act of authority. Like, essentially, we're saying, "Hey, I am a teacher. You should respect me," so on and so forth. The difference in university is that you're an academic. You're 18, or you will be 18 for late birthdays like me, right? You'll hit 18. Um, you're an adult. You're an academic. You know how to. You are your own. So professors don't treat you like little kids. They'll treat you like an adult. And so if you get close to professors, like, you can talk to them with their first name, right? You can you can ask questions. You can, like, ask, can I work with you in your lab as volunteer, or whatever it is, for experience. Like, there's a lot of ways you can connect with your professor more than you thought. I've had friends who became TAs and went drinking with their professor for, like, there's a lot of things you can do to connect with the staff at universities. It's literally, you meet your professor when you go in. They'll give you your syllabus. They'll give you the contact information that you need. Just talk to them. They're people, right? Just talk to them. Just like you're talking to me right now, right? If we met in person, I'm sure we would have good conversation, right? Azar knows. I don't know if Azar's still in here, but Azar knows. Like, I'm always open to have conversation, right? I'm pretty chill. I'm always happy to kind of share that, and I know some of you don't know me in that way, and I do regret. I feel like some of you, if you got to know me better, your questions or your concerns about your marks would have been kind of alleviated. But, like, just talk to them. They're normal people, right? They live their life just like you live their life, and so it's like, how would you get to know a person? Talk to them, ask questions, so on and so forth. It's the exact same. Just like you make friends, you can talk to your professor that way. Not disrespectfully going like, "Hey, yo, what's up, bro?" Like, no, don't do that. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We have 6 people watching still. Hopefully this information's been pretty good for you. I know Daniel's been asking, and that's good. And hopefully those questions were questions that you were thinking as well. I technically can teach it, but I don't think I'll be the teacher for that course, sadly. So I will not be teaching that specific course, I don't think. I'd say Miss Holden does a pretty good job in teaching for you, in my opinion. I think Miss Holden was teaching for you this year for chemistry. I personally like working with Miss Holden. She's a great teacher. Lots of resources, lots of ideas. But yeah, all right. I think that's it. If no one has any other thoughts, comments, concerns, we're gonna end it here. Okay. So thank you so much for coming in, for watching, for being here through thick and thin, through online quarantine lessons. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you didn't like me, I apologize. I'll try to do better for next time. If you did like me, I'm thankful, and I hope that you have a great summer regardless of your thoughts of me. Okay? So have a good one. If you want to email me, feel free to email me at my email. I will respond as soon as possible. But otherwise, take care, everyone. Have yourselves a good one. And I'll see you when I see you. All right? Peace out, everyone.